Don't listen to warlocks or hunters. Us Titans hold the weight of the city's defense on our shoulders. We held the line at the gap, we built the walls and keep the dream of the city alive. Without our strong arms and broad shoulders, what keeps the town standing? Never forget that, Guardian. Never forget that. Hey, what's poppin', my Guardians? Today we are starting the new series of the Destiny lore, starting with a subclass sub-series, I'm going to say. Today we are focusing on the Titan subclass, Striker, and I will talk about the role of a Striker Titan and include the names of some legendary Striker Titans and the backstory throughout the Destiny universe. My name is the Tech Hound, or Nathan if you want to call me that, and I'm also joined by Crazy. Say hi, Crazy. So let's get started. Let's start off with the role of a Striker Titan, and then we will move on to some legendary strikers in the Destiny universe. Striker Titans, like all Titans, aim to protect the city. Their aggression should not be confused with carelessness or abandonment of the city, but rather disciplined and planned aggression in order to defend the city, i.e. the best defense is a beastly offense. This is supported by the Legend of the Titan questline, which reads, some doctrines argue that the roles of the Titan is to stand in defense of the last city. The Strikers see a crackling offense as the best defense. That was said by Oros. So, at first glance, Striker Titans may seem less orientated to defending the city, compared to the Defender Titan, that is. But the truth is they defend the city through attacking the enemy. The Striker quest line further reinforces that Striker Titans put their bodies in harm's way to protect the city. It reads, Cade and Ikora have it all wrong. It's not that Strikers have a death wish. They throw their bodies at incoming fire so others won't have to. It's also the most direct line to a target. That was said by Lord Shax. What do you think about that quote there, Isaac?
Couldn't say it any better myself.
Fair enough. Zavala goes on to say that Striker Titans are not carelessly throwing themselves into battle, into the front line, but rather that it is a calculated attack to disrupt the enemy and defend the city. Path of the Striker quest line reads, there is no doctrine, but defense. If the city is to stand, every response must be a measure, every attack calculated, every body block followed by a devastating final. If the city is to survive, it must be unquestioned. The walls must stand, no matter the cost. That was said by Zavala. The Striker Titan is the devastating final. The Striker Titan is the follow-up to any aggression directed to the city, and consequently, Striker Titans from the front line are the spearhead, aimed to shatter enemy lines. But once again, their aggression and willingness to charge into the front line of battle is not careless. It is planned and measured. The Striker Grimoire card reads, Striker Titans charge into close combat, armoured in light and wielding fistfuls of thunder. Striker Titans' tactics depend on shock and discipline, aggression. They must awe and scatter the enemy, or risk being overwhelmed. Fellow Guardians prize their ability to draw fire as they shatter the enemy line. And the path of the Striker further reinforces that Striker Titans are the front line. It reads, as a Striker, you move to the front of the war, the front of the fire team, the front of the line. You are the front, and the front moves with you. Go. Take the field of battle. Prove to the enemy that you are a living front line. Make them heed your training well. Of course, being constantly on the front line isn't easy, nor safe. And Zavala acknowledges how dangerous it is for Striker Titans. However, Zavala also places an immense amount of pressure on all Titans, for all Titans to defend the city. This pressure is more than Ikora and Cade place on Warlocks and Hunters respectively. Titans are trained to do one thing, protect the city, whether that is through a ward of dawn, or whether that is a Striker Titan counter-attack. It is always the same goal, defend the city. Have a listen to the Legend of Titan Grimoire card. I speak often of the power of the city as a symbol, but never forget, it is a real place, the home to living, breathing people, a home that would not exist without your effort. down below us stretches the last feet city on earth. And it is here because of your strength, your deeds. Do not forget this, Guardian. It is why we are here. The Titans are so ingrained with defending the city and the wall that Titans who are killed and are buried at the wall. The Titan legend of the Titans read. Good to see you again, Guardian. I truly mean that. You would be surprised how many newborn Guardians do not make it out of their early days. If it gives you any solace, I make sure that every fallen Titan is buried at the wall. Many Guardians do not make it out of their early days. Is Zavala being too careless with the lives of Titans? Here is the really interesting thing. Zavala sells his philosophy really well. This Titan code to defend the city, to live and die for the city. Nearly every paragraph that comes out of Zavala's mouth is about defending the city. But there is one Titan who disagrees with Zavala's code, Kabar. Kabar questions whether Zavala carelessly throws its Titans into the front line of war. The Striker quest line reads, what the city wants us to do, what we want to do, doesn't make any damn sense. That phrase, tip of the spear, sounds good in speeches. But do you know what happens to tear tips? No, to spear tips? They break. But that's what it takes. If the choice is between you or the wall, you break. Kabar said that. Really interesting because obviously Kabar never returned from the Vault of Glass, and Kabar seems like he disagreed with Zavala. Disagreed with all the branding of the Titans as the tip of the spear, the frontline aggression. Basically, we eventually break. What do you think? Is Zavala careless with the lives of the Striker Titans, justifying their use in order to defend the city, or is he correct? This is carefully planned discipline offense and necessary to keep the city safe. What do you think, Isaac?
I got to agree. Like, he is very careless with Titan's lives.
He is, but we also... I know what you're saying, and I know what... Yeah, because we basically throw our lives in the way. I mean, the Striker Super is literally to charge straight into enemy lines. Straight into, like, the middle of a squad. It's not the safest of supers, is it?
Quite suicidal.
Regardless to Zavala's morals and ethics, there are some legendary Striker Titans in Destiny history. Of course, Zavala has mastered the path of the Striker Titan, which is evident in his trailer. Zavala, the vanguard of Titans. He's strong. However, I believe there is another Striker Titan within the tower. Lord Shaxx. Whilst it is not confirmed, there are a number of hints that Lord Shaxx has mastered the elements of a Striker Titan. In the Crucible questline for the Striker Titan, it says, they say a fire team of defenders can hold any fortification, and that a group of strikers can bring it crashing to the ground. Who said that? I did. It's true. Lord Shaxx obviously has some fondness for the style of a Striker Titan, and this paragraph is very similar to the threat that Lord Shaxx says to Tex Mechanica. The weapon foundry, Tex Mechanica, were trying to rig Crucible matches, and this was Shaxx's response. This is the part where you start blustering at my little buddy here and telling him that it's all illegal down in the city. Just business, just sponsorship. So listen, I can have 10 Titans crashing through your ceiling at any time I like, and you can tell them it's just business. That was said by Shaxx. Whilst it doesn't specifically say that they are Striker Titans, I imagine that Titans crashing through your ceiling would be Strikers rather than Defenders. The last bit of evidence that hints at Lord Shaxx being a Striker Titan is from the questline. Shaxx seems not to have a preference for a specific firearm. In his days as a competitor, he would finish fights with his hands whenever he could. He was the idol of every striker. Ikora said that. And I think, personally, that really tips it off that he is a striker. Why else would he be the sort of well, idol of the Titans that are strikers if he wasn't a striker himself. Anyway, moving along. You may have also spotted some other Titan names in the previous quotes, such as Kabar and Oros. Kabar is better known for entering the Vault of Glass and leaving Aegis for us to defeat the Templar, and Oros is better known for being the leader of the Sunbreakers. As far as I am aware, there are no other pieces of information that suggest that Oros and Kabar were also Striker Titans. However, in general, I often consider the more experienced Titans to possess multiple subclasses, similar to the Vanguard. The Vanguard mentors us in each subclass and show their experience with light manipulation. Whilst we can be certain for Oros and Kabar, we know of one Titan who definitely was a Striker Titan. Razel Azir. Yes, the same Titan who was entwined in the story of Dredgen. See my previous videos for that if I get them up before this. In the Razel Azir card, War Without End, Razel purposely was killed by the Fallen to draw out a Fallen Kel. The Fallen Kel picked up his dead body, not realizing that Razel Azir planned for his ghost to revive him at that exact moment, so he could deliver a Fist of Havoc. I actually had some artwork made for this a long time ago, but as I said, that's a long time ago. So here's how the card reads. Razel's ghost started low through the crowd. He didn't like Razel's plan, but now he understood it. Distracted by the Kel's triumph, the ghost's presence went unnoticed, until a beam of light swept over Razel's body. The mood shifted instantly, cheers turning into ravenous shouts. The Kel's gaze fell onto the ghost as the beam faded. The circle began to collapse. The Fallen set to pounce. As the Kel moved to toss Razel aside, cold steel met the underside of the Fallen Marauder's jaw, followed by a red flash as Razel pulled his cannon's trigger. Ether spewed in an angry geyser, and then the Kel's grip loosened. Razel hit the ground and unloaded 5 more rounds into the fallen leader's torso. The monster dropped. Frenzied, the Kel's crew close in like a flood. Razel's ghost lifted above the fray, frantic. Now! 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 In one motion, Razel rose from a crouch, his fists clenched and raised high as a storm of arc lightning built within him, his full might raining down on the Kel's chest. The shockwave of Razel's attack hit like a meteor, shattering the Kel's body and any fallen within the Havoc Storm's radius. The remaining fallen staggered, knocked back and dazed. Razel triggered his Sparrow. The last Titan I want to mention is Wei Ning. Like Zavala, Wei Ning has mastered both striker and defense disciplines. The striker quest line reads, nothing like that moment when you bring your fist down. Sometimes in the Crucible I like to have my helmet cam running. That way I can go back and see the whites of their eyes just before everything goes zap. That was said by Wei Ying. And the defender quest line reads, be the wall, they always told me. When you're forming the ward, imagine the wall before you. Walk inside it, wrap it around you. That never worked for me. I just get really, really angry, and then the light does the rest. Wei Ning said that. As you can see, like Zavala, Wei Ning mastered both disciplines. Wei Ning was actually killed by Crota at the Battle for the Moon. Ariana 3 was torturing a wizard, and that wizard projected a vision of Wei Ning's face, which was impaled on Crota's blade. Just remember, Titan, as you charge to the front line, you carry the dream of the city with you. As you step back into the wilds, also remember those of us behind the walls. We count on the strength of your shoulders. We're counting on you and the other Titans. That concludes this latest Destiny lore episode. If you would like to support the channel, like and subscribe. I love the idea of Titan strikers wearing helmet cameras as they charge into the front line of the battle. Though, what do you think about that, Isaac?
Also, I wasn't listening.
I said, what do you think about the idea of strikers wearing a helmet camera just to watch their enemies die?
What?
Okay. Well, anyway, guys, as usual, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.